It's really not the end of the world if things haven't gone to plan today, and there's always options.
Yeah, there definitely are. So, Erin, any advice for students? Because it might feel quite overwhelming. Suddenly, you've been studying for 3 years, and then you kind of everything leads up to today. But it really isn't nothing to kind of worry too much about if things haven't quite gone to plan.
Yeah, it's never going to be the be all and end all. Of course, if you're sitting there looking at your results and you don't feel like that's reflected all of the effort that you put in, that can feel quite upsetting. And sometimes then the worst thing is for everyone around you to say, oh, it doesn't matter. But equally, that is a great opportunity for you to sit and reflect and have a think about, OK, what can I change moving forward?
And there are plenty of options as well if you don't think that the results are quite right. You can, of course, appeal what's going on. Here's Sam with a little bit more about what you can do.
Can you challenge your GCSE results? It's results day. You may have just opened your grades and they're really not what you were expecting. Don't panic just yet. You may be able to challenge them. You can request a copy of your exam paper or sort a review of marking. Requesting the paper allows a teacher to take a look over the marking, and then you can decide if you want a review. A review of marking means another examiner checks your paper. The mark can go up, but it also could go down or stay the same. Your school can request this for you once you've given your consent. Remember, you only have a limited time frame to request this, and this year's requests must be made by the 25th of September. Priority review takes about 15 days, but a normal review can take around 20. Plus, you do have to pay depending on the exam board. So check the price when you submit for a review, as you might have to cover this. There are ways to escalate the process further if you're still not happy with the results, but it's best to talk to your school about what the best way forward may be. So if your results really aren't what you expected, act quickly, speak to your school, and make sure you don't miss the deadlines.
Let's check back in with Lewis. Lewis, you're with a politician in charge of schools in England. What is the reaction from the government?
Yes, I'm with a politician in charge of schools. I'm with Minister Catherine McKinnell, who is in charge of GCSEs. So how has the country performed in the GCSEs this year?
Well, I'd say there's an amazing atmosphere here at St Bede's this morning. It's really exciting for people to get their grades, see how they've done, and really, though, most importantly, think about what springboard that is to what comes next. So I think however it's gone for people, this really is a springboard to apprenticeships, to A-levels, to T-levels, or vocational qualifications, whatever it is. It's great to see all this children and young people here talking to their teachers about what they're going to do next. It's really exciting for the future.
And do we know how hard it is for students to get to that next stage of education? What I mean is, how well has the country done across the board, the North East, London, working class kids, middle class kids? What have you seen in the results?
So we've seen this year, it's pretty steady compared to last year, which is really reassuring, because as a country, and young people will know this, we've been through quite a difficult time with the pandemic, post-pandemic, everyone having to catch up and recover from what was a really big national challenge. So to see it another year return to what looks more like the new normal is really welcome. And I think that the young people will have done really well and be pleased about what they do next. But actually, if it hasn't gone to plan as well, I think equally important that you take that opportunity to get advice, speak to your teachers, because there are opportunities available for everybody, and we need to make sure as many young people as possible grab them with both hands.
Like you said, this year group was affected by COVID. They were the last group in secondary school to be hit by lockdowns. Have they got back up to their levels that they were at before lockdown?
Yes, that's what we're seeing. So this cohort are the ones that were just leaving primary school, moving into secondary as the COVID pandemic hit. So they really missed out on a key transition time. But I know the schools have worked really hard to make sure that has not impacted their learning. It hasn't happened by chance. I think the young people have worked hard. I think the families have supported them. I think the schools and the teachers have really worked hard, and we're seeing the results today, which is really reassuring. But let's not forget, though, that there are still some really entrenched inequalities and unfairness in the system. People that aren't getting the results and the outcomes from school that they should, and as a government that's what we're really focused on as well, making sure that those 4 out of 5 young people of working white class, also those with special educational needs and disabilities, just not getting their maths and English, and meaning that they can't then go on to maybe do what it is they would want to do. We really want to unlock those opportunities as well, and we're working hard to do that.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about white working class kids, because the Education Secretary has been making a big deal of how they are underachieving. What are you doing to make sure that you bring everyone up to the same level?
So we're seeing the green shoots of what we're already doing, but we will be doing more. We're bringing out a white paper that's like a government paper of what we're going to do in the autumn. But it starts with the early years, getting the best start in life, making sure there's support for families in communities. It means free breakfast clubs for children to get that really good start to the day. It means more free school meals for families on universal credit. It means more teachers in the classroom. We're seeing more teachers recruited, more teachers retained, which is really excellent. And we're seeing more days at school, so 5 million more days young people have been at school compared to last year. That means if you're in school, you can get your education. You can't if you're not. So we're really focused on making school a place that children and young people want to be in and can get the learning that they deserve.
You brought me on to my next question there, which is school attendance it's still really low since the pandemic. What are you doing to make sure kids are back in school?
So attendance is a real challenge, and if you're not in school, you can't benefit from the great education that we want every young person to get. So we've got really targeted approaches working with schools who have really particular challenges to support them with attendance and behaviour hubs, but also putting mental health support for young people, making sure they have access to that in schools. I think the free school meal expansion will go a long way, because we know that young people and families have been really struggling with the cost of living. Reducing the cost of school uniform, I mean, it seems like a simple thing, but you know, if you haven't got the right school uniform, that can put you off getting into school. We want to bring those costs down, put money back into parents' pockets, and make sure all that support can go to children and young people from their families and from their school to really get to school and get out of school what they deserve.
Let's talk a little bit about the next steps, what these kids will be able to take. They've just finished with the GCSEs. What are the options? I read the other day there's a new civil service offer where school leavers can join and try and get into the government. What's that?
Yeah, get the fast track civil service. It's got to be prioritised for working class young people. I mean, the opportunities being talked about here today, fantastic T levels in health and engineering, and that there are apprenticeships available. It's really good that the schools have really strong links with businesses in the local area to make sure that both the schools are providing the young people with the skills the businesses need, but obviously it's unlocking those opportunities for the young people as well. And then I've spoken to some fantastic students as well that are going on to do A-levels, and you know, they aspire to get to university. I think whatever it is that a young person wants to do, we want to make sure those opportunities are available for them.
We'll let you go in a sec, but can you remember how you did in your GCSEs?
So I was a bit of a late bloomer at school. I loved all the sport and the art and the drama, but I genuinely believe that's what's unlocked my learning for me. And in the end, I did quite well. I got A's and B's. I remember being quite shocked because I didn't think of myself as particularly academic. But I do think that as long as you have a really enjoyable time at school, I think that's really important to doing well at school. And that's what we really want to deliver for children and young people.
And now you're a government minister. What path did you take to get to where you are now?
So I actually went to university. I studied history and politics. I loved it. And then I did law because I wanted to come back to Newcastle in the northeast. And a lot of the jobs in politics were in London, but I loved the northeast. So I chose to become a lawyer, and then I got involved locally in politics. And that's how I ended up eventually becoming the first female member of parliament for Newcastle North.
Oh, well done. Hopefully you can inspire all of these kids behind us.